Hello everybody, Nikki with Nikki Lenae Photography here. I am here to show you how I would edit red out of newborn skin without using any actions. So the first thing we'll do is Command J to duplicate our background. And let me just bring all this up. So what we're going to do is take a look at this baby's skin. You can see that there's red here and some red here. Typically newborns are usually red right here and on their forehead. So what we're going to do is open up our levels adjustment, and we're going to go to green, and we're going to add, let's start with 4. So we're going to reverse our mask here, and we're going to paint on the areas with 100% opacity using a soft brush. Make sure my brush is set to 0, and we're just going to paint on these areas that have quite a bit of red, and then we can go back and erase on any places where we think we put too much green on. So very quickly, this is a good tip if you don't want to buy actions and you want to do it yourself. I know it's hard to find actions that work for everybody, and sometimes it's just easier to hand edit, and it's a good way to learn Photoshop as well, because presets, they do everything for you, and then you're kind of stuck wondering how to do something yourself. Okay, so I can see, here, let me bring out my little hand. I can see that there's a little bit of green right here, so we're going to take some of that off. So we're going to make sure our brush is set to black, and I'm going to drop this down to 50% opacity, and I'm just going to take some of this green off right here, just to bring back some of the color, and maybe right here, and let's see where else looks pretty good. So I'm going to, oh, you know what, there's a little spot right there. I'm going to turn this on and off so you can see what we've done so far. So take a look right here. I'm going to turn it back on, and you can see that it really helped take some of that red away. So now what I'm going to do is zoom in a little closer. The only time I zoom in really close like this is when I'm doing color correction on a newborn. So we're going to do another levels later, but first I'm going to click the Q button, and you see how this turns red? And if you look on my history panel, it says Enter Quick Mask. This is a very easy way to select an area of your picture that you want to edit. So make sure your opacity is set to 100, and I'm just going to go over this area right here, and you see it turn red. You have to click Q again to select the area. And now we can come up to levels, but you can see that this area is selected to not be worked on. So we're going to invert our mask like this to make sure that this is the only area any adjustments will happen on. So I can see that there is still a little bit of red. So what we're going to do is go to green. We're going to just slowly add green here. So I'm going to go to a 2, and that, okay, there it is. My computer's being a little slow. I'm going to go to a 1, and that looks pretty good, but I'm also going to add some yellow. When I add yellow, I go to the blue channel, output levels, and I slowly reduce this number to 55. I slowly reduce that number to about 253 just to see what happens, maybe 254. And so this area right here is looking a little funny. So Q again. We're going to go like this. Babies are usually gray in this area. I might as well do that as well. So click Q again, levels, invert. That way the selection that we just did is highlighted. And I am going to add in some red. Whenever I see a gray area, you want to add red. So we're going to add some red to this. So to add red, I work in the midtones, and I slowly add red, and I'm watching this area as I'm increasing the number. That looks a bit too red to me, so I'm going to go down to a 5. Now for me and the way I edit, I always add some yellow to the area that was gray. So slowly add in some of that yellow, zoom out, and that looks so much better. I'm going to turn this one on and off, so keep your eyes right here on this area. And you can see that really helped. I'm going to zoom back in. I see this little strip right here. I'm going to turn my mask on. You can see that little strip isn't highlighted. So I'm going to bring my brush back, set it to white at 100% opacity. I'm going to make my brush smaller and just paint this on any areas that we may have missed. So right there, and go into there, and there you go. Now, this area is usually very gray on newborns as well. So we're going to do the same thing, but because it's a different area of the face, we're going to lower this down to about 50% and then paint it on. That way, you can tell what's going on. So it's looking a little yellow. So what I'm going to do is cue. Sometimes, make sure your brush is set to 100% when you go into quick mask. Sometimes you can get away with using the same adjustment on multiple areas of the face, but that one just wasn't working for me. So we will customize it to baby. So I'm going into the reds, increase it to about a 4, and then I'm going into the blues, decreasing the number to about a 2, and I'm going to turn it on and off, and you can tell it works. So that's kind of how I would edit a newborn baby if I didn't have red removing actions. It is completely okay to not have any presets or actions when you're editing. And if you don't have presets, it's really easy for you to find your own creative style, and that way you have your own voice in this oversaturated newborn world. It's really hard to look unique. So this way, at least you know the tools that you need to bring those extra touches to your work. And I love editing newborn skin this way because every baby has different skin tones, and you can really hone in on what that baby's skin is supposed to look like, and you can bring out the baby's natural skin tone rather than using a global action preset or Photoshop action that will globally take the red out for all babies. So this is just a great way to really fine-tune each individual baby's skin tone. So I hope this helped. We just did a few adjustments. I'm going to go back to the top so you can see what we did only using levels, the level layers here. So this is where we started. Keep a watch on baby's skin, and that's where we ended up, and it looks beautiful. We didn't do the whole face, but that would take a bit. But now that you have the tools to do this for your newborns, just make sure you zoom in nice and close. That way you can really see these color differences. For example, right here and right here, these can all be fixed just using levels. This right here as well. So I hope you found this helpful, and go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and you can watch all the other videos that I will be uploading in the upcoming weeks.